Alrighty. So, I get to sit down with Todd Hays, who is the former CEO and founder of Interact Accessories. The same guys that brought us those third-party controllers from back in the day, as well as the GameShark here in the United States. It was licensed to them from Detail, I think it was. So that peripheral, that cheating device, the GameShark, was really a household name back in the 90s. It was they made it available for the PlayStation 1, the PlayStation 2, the Dreamcast, the N64, and the Game Boy Color. And I think that's about it. Made it for all of those different platforms. So his company is trying to revive the GameShark brand, the GameShark accessory as a modern household name. With their products, they like to call the AI Shark and the Retro Shark. So, what exactly are these products? Well, to give a bit more in depth into that, here's the interview I had with Tom Hays, and take a look. Alrighty. So thank you first of all for agreeing to do this. This is awesome.
Not a problem. It's fun.
So I've been a fan of the GameShark brand for a long time, and when I first heard you guys were bringing the GameShark back, I was like, no way, no way. It's been too long, but no,
Yeah.
here we are, and so I understand that you've got this complete cheat code compendium coming. Is that the
Uh-huh.
first thing that's on the horizon?
Yeah, that's the first thing that's on the horizon.
Okay.
We were fans of EGM's um Kickstarter, where they raised $1.8 million
Oh
dollars,
wow.
and they did nothing more than develop a video game history book. And it's a history book brought to you by EGM magazine, which we thought was cool, but we thought could be so much cooler. And then Matt and I've been reading all the comments. The problem with it is they started the campaign a year ago, and they've raised all this money, and they haven't filled any orders. And people are getting pissed off because they're starting to think that maybe this is a scam or some bullshit like that. So what Matt and I have been doing, we've been very, very sensitive to the fact that we're going to commit once we're going to start running the Kickstarter. Well, you're going to be one of the first people to actually get the real live ad, because we want people like you to help us get the word out, and we're going to give you 2 or 3 or 4 days a jump start until we start putting it on, on the advertising routes,
Okay.
so that you can, you can kind of say, hey, this is kind of cool, why don't you guys check it out, whatever. But so what we're going to do, the first is, basically, if first way to support us in the Kickstarter is, we're going to basically say, hey, help us relaunch the brand. Buy a T-shirt,
Yeah.
or something like that. And then the second product is the cheat book compendium, which is really a it's about a 240 page hardbound collectible book that is going to include QR codes for digital walkthroughs
Oh wow.
on 100 of the toughest games ever made, and then every cheat, mod, hack, anything legal or illegal, anything that we can find on
Okay.
any and all of those old games, we're going to publish it, and we're going to put it in one compendium. And then there's going to be, for I think another $20, I think we're going to do the book plus an, a digital add-on that's going to give you all of that same information for another 400 games. So we're
Wow.
going to go up to 500 games. So it's going to be cool. And then there's also banter inside, because Dan Manzer is a guy who, he was my channel marketing manager when we had, I don't know if you remember the newsletter we used to write called Dangerous Waters. And we used to publish a newsletter. This is obviously dating myself. This is pre-internet, okay? So don't
Right.
don't don't be shocked, but what we used to do is we used to publish a newsletter and we would mail it to and we had a subscriber list, and then we would also license those codes to Brady Games. We'd license them to Prima Publishing. We would license them to Game Pro Magazine, EGM Magazine, Game Informer Magazine, all of them. We'd give them all scoops so that they could, if they were doing a big promo on a certain genre of games, then we would give them, sort of first peeks at codes that we've found and all kinds of cool stuff. So anyway, we're just looking to try and reestablish the connection with the brand through the compendium and then the digital add-on, and we're being very transparent about the fact that we need to sell about maybe 3,000 to 5,000 of them. And
Okay.
and if we do, then of course, most of the profit is going to go towards paying for the book and the
Yeah.
publisher and all the mail costs and all of the postage and everything to go
Yeah.
and ship everybody that
Right.
heavy book or that brick. But at any rate, the if we sell 5,000 of them, there will be enough profit for us to fund the completion of our very first and next GameShark, which is called the Retro Shark. And the Retro Shark is it's a PC Game Shark that works on all the old retro games, and it basically works through all the emulation.
Oh,
And what we've done is we're not using AI. Well, we're using a little tiny bit of AI to like locate where you are in the game, identify which game you're in, and then to be able to quickly point you to a series of AI agents that we've written per each one of these games that will give you like the eight ways of solving the problem that it
oh,
appears that you're
okay.
about ready to face, that kind of thing. Okay.
Interesting.
So,
Right.
so it's gonna compile all the Game Genie, all the Game Shark, all the Code Breaker, all the Action Replay codes that ever existed, and we're gonna burn them to. We're gonna train them into an AI agent, and then of all the codes for that particular game, your Retro Shark you'll say something like, "Hey, Retro Shark, I'm in trouble. Help me out." And then it'll say, "Yes, I see you're playing GoldenEye. I suggest infinite weapons and the golden gun." And
Okay.
and then and then you say, "Yes, okay, give me that." And then it says, "Okay, your wish is my command." And then
That's
boom,
cool.
and
Wow.
then it gives it to you so that you can play with that old GameShark code. But since there's so many people that don't know how to navigate and find GameShark codes through the emulation environment, we're just kind of doing it all for you
Cool.
to make it easy and fun and all that. And then the very next product that is on the docket is a product that we're calling it the Upshark, and it is a upscaling device.
Ah,
Basically, we're using, I don't know if you know of the 11 Labs. 11 Labs is a diffusion AI engine, and we're licensing that. And what we're doing is pick a game. Let's say you're playing Mortal Kombat.
okay.
So you're playing Mortal Kombat, and the characters look cool and everything, but they're kind of grainy and they're kind of pixely, and they're
Right.
not, they're old,
Right. Yeah.
they're 16 or they're 30 at best, they're 32-bit, and what the Upshark will do is it runs those characters in real time through a diffusion engine, and in with a 1/15 of a second delay
Wow.
only, it brings you back it's not 3D, but it's a really cool looking character.
Right.
Okay, let's just put it that way.
Cool.
And
Okay.
and then and then quite honestly, with that, I'm kind of hoping that we can sell enough of those two products and use those two products as proofs of concept that we're hoping, one of the big VCs or somebody with money will come and say, okay, I I believe it's the time to get behind you guys, and and stroke a check for 5 or 10 million that I need to really make a fully, AI driven, AI interactive gaming coach, which is the vision, of, you know the long term vision is to truly recreate, without breaking the game. What we're trying to do is through predictive analysis and through aggressive video game pre-training. What we will ultimately end up doing, is we will have teams of people that are training our AIs on, say, for example, Call of Duty 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, so that when 6 comes out, or 7 in this case, when the next Call of Duty comes out, that when you use AI Shark, it will already have, 80 or 90% of the logic already to be able to make semi-accurate predictions. And then over the next 2 weeks, our internal game team and, really hardcore gamers that just are helping us in the game training process. They're beating the games, and they're uploading their walkthroughs and their solutions and their tips and tricks and strategies and everything to, their Twitch channels or to their YouTube channels or whatever. And our AIs will learn that from them, and through the analysis of the video stream. So we're not dealing with any copyright protection. We're not dealing with anti-cheating device protection. None of that stuff. It's all open source stuff that we're just using super, super fast compute to be able to, and some tremendous front work, where we're doing the pre-training on all the old games, and that's what's going to take us a while, and a big pile of money, is to learn how to learn these open source games. It's a little bit more. It's one thing to learn how to, mine for silver in, Minecraft, but it's quite another to be able to learn the entire depths of the entire Minecraft game, all of it, So it's going to take a while and a lot of funding, and I just don't have it anymore, you know. So that's what we're hoping, is that all of these really cool efforts focused on trying to hit some singles will hopefully allow us to bring in, a big fish, somebody like Andreessen Horowitz or somebody like that, who like, $10 million isn't gonna shake them
Right.
much.
Right.
Sorry to yeah,
So,
I'm sorry you haven't asked too many questions. I'm sorry to be wrong,
so
taking all the
that's all right. So you're gonna have this AI companion essentially,
time.
and it's going to analyze the games as you play and give you tips and things of that nature.
Mhm.
Is there a limit to its
Yeah.
integration? Like, are there emulators that it won't support?
Well,
Are there things that it won't be able to do?
yeah, there might be some obscure ones. We've done the analysis. Almost all of the games that matter are, done through emulation on the top four emulation. So we're going to be completely integrated with at least the top four, and then over time, we may have to, we'll get help calls, and we'll get consumer calls that say, "Hey, this isn't working with such," and then we'll fix it. We'll fix it. We'll we'll just keep coding, and we'll keep making it work. So I don't foresee it being a real problem, and the reason for that is because, you know the classic games are not, they're a known entity.
Right.
It's the Switch 2 that's why I need the real money. you know.
And I assume this is going to be now. Well, actually, is this going to be a companion application that runs alongside the emulators, or is it going to be an extension of the emulators that it supports?
It'll be an extension of the emulators that it supports initially, and then we also have the ability. It will connect through the HDMI or whatever video signal you're using. So we will also. It may not be as amazing if it's not through the emulation environment, because we'll only be able to analyze the video stream, and depending upon how popular that game is, if it's a really uh, you know obscure Japanese title or something, it may be it we'll do our best. I don't know if I can competently answer that question yet.
Okay, great.
I want it to work as seamlessly as possible, and I want it to be, um, I don't want to say idiot proof, but I would like it to work as seamlessly as the emulators. But as you probably know, not all the emulators all work that great either.
Right.
There are times where some of them just glitch out, or things don't work properly. You got to reboot. You got to do some things. So it's I'm not sure. I'm not sure technically.
Would it support things like the 2600 plus, the 7800 plus, the Mod Retro Chromatic, the upcoming Mod Retro M64? Are those
Uh,
platforms that it's going to be able to support?
yes, yes,
Wow.
as long as the connectivity remains through some type of a you know, television, some type of screen. The harder uh, connectivity is actually with the 1,000 different handhelds, that the Chinese are making, that are, advertising 25,000 games, included, and like the R36 and other devices. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's really cool. That's really exciting what you guys are doing. I'm glad that the brand's come back. It's going to be it's going to be
Yeah,
awesome.
and one thing I want to make sure everybody knows, we've taken a lot of negative press because of AI in general. It takes a shit ton of negative press,
It does.
and we've got two things. I got two points I'd love to make, or I'd love a forum to be able to make it one day. But one of them is, um, look, you know. We're not going to allow this to work in tournament mode, right? We can tell whether you're playing in a tournament or not. So we'll be able
Good.
to self police, because nobody wins if this device is used, to flat out cheat, because
Okay.
cheating isn't cool. However, in a coaching environment where you're allowed to practice whatever you want on your own, we see this as a way so you don't have to jump on YouTube, and you don't have to search for 45 minutes and try to find, the precise area of weakness that you're falling into. Let the AI shark go find that for you. Use AI to be your search engine, and bring it back to you in 1/15th of a second, so that you know what's going to happen next. Uh,
Sounds like you guys have a lot on the horizon there. It's
yeah, trying, man. I'm
awesome.
trying.
It's
I
awesome.
love the game. I'm so sad that I left the games business. when the Microsoft Xbox launched. When the Microsoft Xbox launched, um, my company Interact, we were the first Xbox peripherals licensee, and we even started making product for Microsoft. But there was no money in it, and then they pretty much just shut the back door on the hardware, so we could never connect, and we basically we
Right.
could always hack through there, but they were so smart they would just like change the combination to the lock every day.
Yeah.
You can't hack through it every day. Now, however, with AI, I might be able to hack through every day.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So it's safe to say, I think that what you guys are going for is a single player centric experience
Yeah.
is what I'm understanding this to be, which is awesome. So it won't.
Yeah.
So what if I'm correct? If you guys go into supporting the current gen stuff with this AI Shark, I'm assuming it's intelligent enough to say, "Hey, you're playing an online game. I'm going to go ahead and
Right.
stop assisting."
Exactly. I'm not going to
Okay.
allow you to assist while you're online.
Yeah. Oh, I'm hoping you guys get off the ground because
Me too. Me too.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Me too.
very ambitious and
Yeah. And listen, I'm pretty confident that if we get the word out properly on the Kickstarter, I think if we can, if we can sell enough of these books, then at the very least you're going to see Retro Shark, and you're going to see the Up Shark, and those will be pretty cool products. And who knows? Take it. Well, who knows? Maybe GameStop. It seems like retro games are like the only thing keeping GameStop alive. So
yeah.
who knows? Maybe they'll go and order $5 million worth of them. You know and I'll take the profit on it and just go boom, and go headstrong again into shark development. So, all right.
It's awesome. It's just yeah, man. I'm looking at this book and it's just like it's really cool. It's also at the same time kind of nostalgic going. That's really cool. I used to see magazines and stuff on the
Yeah.
shelf
Yeah. Yeah.
with this stuff.
Yeah. And then one thing we're doing is for anybody who might purchase or go buy the Kickstarter from, like, be connected through your organization or through your groups, or through your influence. um I there's another book. It's called the Game Shark. It's the behind the scenes thing. It's a book that I wrote. That it's not. There's no walkthroughs or anything in there. It's just all these really really fun behind the scenes stories about Interact, and me starting the company as a kid, and all kinds of fun stuff. So I'm giving that away to everybody who orders
Cool.
the Kickstarter right in the beginning. Just
Right.
just so they have something in their hands immediately.
Right.
Because what do I care? I mean, I'm not I'm not a publisher, so I don't expect to become the next writer. you know.
All right, so that was the interview with Todd Hays. The Retro Shark and the AI Shark are pretty cool sounding products. And the first thing they're going to provide us through the Kickstarter is going to be the ability to purchase the GameShark Compendium, which is a collection of cheat codes from Game Genie, GameShark, the other ones, the Action Replay. So essentially all of its competitors on top of the GameShark codes, which is pretty cool. So it's going to be a hardcover book that's going to include, I think, 200 or so games, and they may do an expansion to expand 400 games depending on funding. So if you want to back the Kickstarter, he'll leave a link in the description when it becomes available. You'll be able to back the book, and along with the book, you're going to get the GameShark book as well, which is a book that was written by Todd Hays. and it chronicles his founding of the company of Interact Accessories, and gives some behind the scenes stories and things about how the company came about GameShark, and it's pretty interesting, pretty cool stuff. So yeah, you can back the book and get the GameShark books. You get 2 books for the price of the 1 book, which is pretty cool in and of itself. And then when the Retro Shark becomes available, then you can back that. When the AI Shark comes out, you can back that. And I definitely suggest you do so. If you're somebody that grew up in the 80s, 90s, or even the early 2000s, the GameShark brand, well, Interact as a brand, was a household name for those of us that remember. And it would be really cool to see the GameShark brand be revived. To have a modern take on the GameShark would be awesome. That'd be just amazingly awesome. So I definitely suggest backing the project. Let's help make the GameShark brand, the GameShark accessory, once again a staple in our video game library. So if you want access to a wonderful hardcover book, as well as a book about behind the scenes stuff, you can back the Kickstarter. When the other Kickstarters become available, I'll leave links to those as well. And this is the first of, I think, a couple of interviews in the works here on the channel and on the website. I will have a written form article for the Otaku Authority written. I'll leave that as well if you want to give that a read. But I do really want to extend my thanks to Todd Hays as well as Matt for taking the time to reach out and discuss things, and I'm really excited for what's in the pipeline, and I really hope that the GameShark can once again be in everyone's gaming library. So that'll do it here. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. As always, until next time, take care and happy gaming.